Hello, welcome to Deep Dive. My name's Kevin Benedict, and I want to thank all of you guys for joining us today. I'm so excited to have as my guest today, Jagdish Upadhyay, or something close to that. How do you say it, Jag?
Yeah, it's Upadhyay. I think you got it right.
Okay, very good. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining. Now, Jag is the head of product marketing for an interesting company called JiffleNow. And this is what's funny. I asked him about the name JiffleNow, and he said, well, we called it JiffleNow because Jiffle was taken. That's a great answer, Jag.
Yeah, that's right. So
that's a great answer, Jag.
Essentially, I mean, we were looking for a domain name. I think Jiffle was already taken, and we had to add something to it. So now was a perfect next word, and we combined the two, and we got the domain that we wanted.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's how we all do it, right?
Exactly, and it's been received very well. It has a good brand image. It has a good brand recollection. So I think it's working out well.
Perfect. So, Jag, you and I have bumped into each other numerous times. I think we've even sat down for interviews over the years, haven't we?
Yes, we did. And it's been a pleasure talking to you all the time, Kevin.
Well, thank you so much. So let's talk about you. So give us a little rundown and tell us about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I basically come from technology backgrounds. I started my career more as a software engineer working for German companies like Bosch and Siemens, doing actual hands-on programming for passenger cars, for automotive systems, for industrial automation. And that's where I kind of started appreciating engineering as career choice. And then I incubated a company and worked in the same technology field again, created several products as part of the company, moved on to Accenture in strategy and consulting, and with Hitachi in the IoT space. So I have had a journey which is started from engineering, going into offerings, going into product management, going into product marketing. And with JiffleNow, I am positioning this company. I'm working with the leadership here to position the company into a unique space called meeting automation platform space. So that has been my journey so far in the career. And I'm enjoying this new phase of my career where I'm creating messaging and positioning for a company in a different, unique space.
Jag, that's really interesting because if any space in a business needs engineering thinking today, I think marketing is there with all the MarTech kind of activities going on, all the new technologies, all the new analytics. It needs an engineering mind. So, you know, one of the things that attracted me to want to sit down and interview again, Jag, is not only your expertise, but the fact that you guys with this JiffleNow, you have some really interesting investors here. You know, what is it? Sequoia Capital, Excel Partners, Sama Capital. I mean, they must see something in what you guys are doing that's special. Why don't you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are very grateful for these investments from these companies. And they definitely see value. Our customers see value in what we do. We address a very unique challenge in this space. So if you look at this, buyer's persona, buyer journey, for example, so there are a lot of technology that has come into play from, say, awareness going up to, say, upsell. So if you look at the whole funnel, you have awareness, you have consideration, you have your education, you have purchase, and you have upsell. Now, if you look at technology-wise, for the awareness part of it, you have got companies which are doing marketing automation, essentially something like, say, HubSpot or Marketo. So they are doing it pretty well. And if you look at from the bottom of that funnel is the sales automation, which is a lot of companies doing that CRM, like Salesforce, for example. So, but if you just keep looking at this whole cycle from, say, marketing automation to sales automation, you will find along the process, there are lots of strategic B2B meetings that's happening across the venues, whether it is at events or whether it is at their briefing centers or whether it is road shows or any of those categories. There are lots of customer meetings are happening, strategic meetings are happening at that. Now, this is something an offline part of the whole cycle, which is not getting automated in any sense. So what JiffleNow aims to do with its meeting automation platform is to automate that whole process of creating the strategic B2 meetings and making it easy for our customers to schedule those meetings, analyze it, and manage it. So I can talk more about the platform as we go, but the idea is to basically fill that gap that exists in the funnel today.
Very interesting. We'll come back to that as well. So, this challenge, the challenge of being able to kind of organize and schedule and manage meetings across all kinds of interaction points, how big of a problem is that today?
So this is a new market in some sense, but if you look at some of the research report that came out recently from Aragon, where they talked about this being say $3 billion market in 2023, for example, and they also said in the same report that about 50% of Fortune 1000 companies will move towards adopting to a meeting automation platform by 2021. So, I mean, there's a demand for it, there is a need for it. It solves real challenges they face. And therefore, I see this as, in my view, this number is a little bit conservative, but then I think that's something that independent research agency has said.
Okay, so Jag, talk to us about what this problem really is, because when I hear what you're saying, I think, okay, there must be a whole variety of products out there that we're all using that could do some of this. Is the value the integrating them all together, or where do you see the big value there?
Yeah, so let's look at how it is done today in the companies that have not used a meeting automation platform. So say you are a Fortune 1000 company today, and you have obviously have thousands of customers, thousands of partners, and you meet them at different venues, whether they're coming to your office or you're visiting them. You have executive briefing centers and you're hosting them. You are going to your corporate events and inviting your customers and partners, or you are going to some trade shows and meeting your customers. Now, all this strategic B2B meetings today are being set up using regular methods. For example, say a spreadsheet, for example. And then you use calendars, for example, just to send an invite out with whatever detail that you can fill in that this. And then you have to set up a meeting place, for example, meeting room, for example. Again, you find which meeting room is available at that venue and you enter that. And then you look for that, who are your participants, and again, add to that invite. Now, all this is going back and forth in terms of finding out whether it's the right business meeting for a particular participant or not. Most executives in the large company, and you know that very well than anybody else, are super busy. Their calendars are totally packed. So unless you show value that why you want them in that meeting, they are not going to come. They are going to just say tentative accept, and at best, I mean, they'll say accept, but then decline it closer to the date. Now, these are some of the challenges that come because of the manual scheduling processes that we have and legacy tools that we have. And this also amplifies the problem when you are done with your meetings, events, or EBCs. Suddenly, a question is asked: okay, what's my ROI based out of these meeting that happened? What kind of result did I get from this? And more so with the new GDPR and security compliances that coming into picture. How safe is it for you to populate all this information in an Excel sheet and share it across the email, for example? That these are the meetings that I'm going to have with these people and these are the contact details. So these are the real challenges that customers face today. So what we do is we provide a platform and product, which is the JiffleNow Event Meetings and JiffleNow Briefing Center. This basically caters to this particular requirement. With this, you can address any volume of meeting that you have at any venue that you are going to. And then it's very easy for them to basically create a meeting using our platform, find who's available for the meeting, identify the key subject matter experts for the meeting, invite them through the platform, and also set the context that for an external customer, for example, you would like to send a context which is relevant for them. And for internal participants, executives, you would like to set a context saying that, okay, this is the reason that why you must attend. But you don't want that to go out to your external partner, for example. So the tool can very well segregate that out and send out the respective invites. It also can manage meeting rooms. It also can manage rest of the resources required for the meeting and the entire workflow to get the meetings approved and keep going.
So that gives me a very detailed insight into why you need that. Because if you're trying to use WhatsApp to communicate with somebody walking across a conference, you're trying to use calendars and check everybody's calendars. You've got 5 new rooms in your booth at the conference, and you're trying to, and they're temporary booths. and they each have executive assistants involved. Wow. So that is a big problem. I understand.
That's a massive problem, and most of the customers today want to move away from just when they go to an event and they have 500 meetings or 1,000 meetings. They just don't want to move. They want to move away from looking at data that how many people visited our booth. I mean, that's no longer a metric they're interested in. Or just get, of course, I mean, that is one metric. And then stakeholder satisfaction, for example, like people who came, how good they felt about it, or user experience of different products they demoed. They're also looking at how it is influencing their pipeline. But how's it captured today?
Yes.
So it's the whole thing that kind of makes it so easy for people to have a single platform which automates the whole process, captures all the information, provides the layer of security and compliance that's needed, and deliver the ROI that they expect.
Powerful, powerful. So Jag, let's take off that hat and put on your industry expert and guru hat around marketing, and let's ask you some questions about what you're seeing out there from a marketing perspective. So it's my opinion that digital transformation has impacted, of course, the entire enterprise, but almost no place more so than marketing and sales. How have you seen kind of the digital transformation really change the way sales and marketing is done today?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of changes have happened with the new set of technologies that came with Marketo, HubSpot, and all this automation that happened. It brought in some discipline into marketing, in my sense. Earlier, it was all random, ad hoc, without learning about what are we communicating, who are we communicating to, what's working, what's not working. Companies like these brought some discipline in what we did as a marketing professionals. So now we have more control into our how we position our products, who do we position to, how do we see what's working in the market by doing A and B testing, for example, sending out different messages, even to the extent of what is the customer need, what do they need at a different stage of their buying cycle, for example. So all of that has evolved in a big way, and social media is amplifying it further in terms of how we connect to them. But the technology has brought in discipline in this whole marketing technology stream.
Wow. So you mentioned a couple of them, Marketo, HubSpot, and so those. What else do you see going into a typical MarTech stack today?
So I think these are the essentials anyway, because you need to run a lot of demand gen campaigns these days and connect to your customers, not only for demand gen, but also just connect to them to provide information about where you are with respect to your product today, and engage with them. So that certainly works out well. Plus, you also have other channels with respect to reaching out to them through thought leadership, different kind of forums and blogs that we do. The press releases, all that still continues because that still has its own place in the marketing world. To basically they're different type of personas. So a CEO, a CMO, or say a vice president, a senior vice president, they all refer to different type of journals, different type of material. They consume information in different way. So there are all this technology kind of helps us reach out to them with the type of information they would expect us to provide. So yeah, it's a whole gamut of things.
So now you can segment the market down to individual personas,
Yes.
where each of those personas might be on a journey, on a customer journey. That also seems to me that it's going to require a lot more content. Because you're trying to create segmented and niche market content for different people at different phases all the time. Is that how you see it?
Exactly. So content creation is becoming a big initiative by itself. Not only content, I mean, you definitely need the regular brochures, the white papers, the flyers, and all that goes with the different kind of product requirement and literature. But you also need more snackable content these days, whereas with something people can quickly read. Okay, don't give me 2-page or 4-page material. Just tell me in like half a paragraph what you do. What value does it deliver to me? What are the key attributes of your offering? What problem does it solve for me? So in very snackable way, also you have to create some content which kind of resonates with the market need and the challenges they face.
Wow, I see that same thing. If I'm looking at a website or something, I want to scan the website. Is this relevant to me? Okay, yeah, that one. I see, bullet point number 3, that's me. Click on it, show me a little bit more. I'll click on that a little bit more. You've got to pull me in slowly but surely.
Yeah, and I love the way websites are structured these days. Of course, I mean there are a lot of gated content because people want to know who the visitors are, who is downloading it, and then maybe connect with them to provide more information if required. But there's a lot of ungated content these days, which is available for just getting to know what the market is about, what the product is about, and learning more about it and educating yourself. If you just go to any website today, whether it is any industry leader that you pick up today, they pretty much open about sharing what their technology stack is, what their challenges are, who are they addressing this to, what problem does it solve for you. I mean, it's pretty open and available to anybody to consume.
Well, I tell you, if I'm looking for specific content and at every turn they're not allowing me to see the content that I need in order to move forward, I move on.
Yeah, you go to the next website.
Yeah, absolutely. So that doesn't say, there's not high value content behind a gate that I would pursue, but I need to be sold that that content is, valuable enough for me to invest the time.
Absolutely. Yes. And many times I've seen the content which is there behind the gate as well is just a good title and nothing behind it. So that kind of, again, distract people that, okay, if you're putting something gated, it better be of great value.
Oh, absolutely. And that kind of opens the door to a discussion around influencer marketing as well. If this morning I filled out I saw gated content from Forrester about customer experiences and customer journeys. And I went, okay, Forrester's a name that I respect. I'm going to fill it out. I'm going to download that and see their latest research on customer journeys and customer experiences because of the name Forrester. So how are you seeing the kind of the evolution of influencer marketing out there? And do you see it as more valuable or less valuable than in the past?
So end of the day, I think it's all about connecting to your audience. And in case of say enterprises, which are like say Fortune 1000 enterprises, they definitely would like to reach out to their business customers. Now, influencers basically provide a easy way of reaching out to a large number of customers, and some of them would also be enterprise customers in that sense. So, if you have to amplify your efforts to reach out to a larger set of say customers, definitely that's one of the way of doing it. The only suggestion I would have is that the influencers, there are influencers and then there are influencers.
Yeah.
So you probably will have to find out who resonates with the product or the launch or the offering that you have. How does that person associate with it, and then what weight that person will have for the segment of customers that you're going to reach out to. So if an influencer is more about a different industry segment and you are in a different industry segment, I think that won't work out. So
Right.
you basically find out that it's not just one-off engagement with that influencer. Do some due diligence as to does that person resonate with the market that you are going after, and have some sustained say campaign, not just one-off campaign, and then say, okay, fine, I'll just help post one of my blogs through him, and the magic would happen. So I think it's a longer journey.
Got it. So let's just look into the future now, so we can take off the marketing expert hat and put on your fortune teller hat. So talk to us. How do you see marketing evolving over the next 3 years, say, Jag?
Yeah, I think marketing is very dynamic, and whatever has like if you look at last 4 or 5 years, it is a dramatic change in terms of how we approach marketing today. And with the social media fatigue coming in a little bit, I think marketing has to find a new way of reaching out to customers. Everybody's using Twitter, everybody's using Facebook, everybody's using Instagram, everybody's using all the channels, LinkedIn and Medium and blog and all the tech publications that possible. So I think the next wave of it will be driven by technology, mostly technology, wherein we are able to identify our customers better and send out to them very relevant information what they appreciate, instead of just sending them mailer after mailer and hoping that they'll open it and read it and respond to it. Somehow the more optimization need to come in that because email traffic clearly is does not help. unless you have the right, say, people to reach out to. So if your list is wrong, then you are basically just wasting their time and your time. And so technology kind of will help in terms of reaching out to those customers and also identifying what works for them or not. So I see the role of AI coming up in a big way. I think AI is becoming more of a commonly used word, but I cannot deny that that's kind of going to include art of possible in future into marketing as well.
Oh yeah, because all of the for all the reasons you just said, AI is going to be required to be able to give people not only to understand the vast quantities of data coming in, but then to predict through pattern recognition and other things what information might be the most useful for somebody in that situation.
Absolutely, and most of the companies are already investing into it. So if you look at especially large companies, they already have dedicated efforts in terms of finding out, filtering out, and doing a lot of things in the product itself that kind of will provide added value going forward.
Wonderful. Jag, I want to thank you so much for sharing your brilliance, your industry experience, and your knowledge with all of us today.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for having me. Appreciate, love talking to you.
So everyone, if you want to look this up, JiffleNow.com.